Yo, what's good, everyone? If you hear any background noise, that's just my family upstairs, because my room is at the bottom, but hopefully don't interfere that much. It shouldn't anyway. But yeah, getting straight into the video, I want to talk about while talking to yourself is really amazing. So I talk to myself every single day, and it's just something natural to me. I've been doing it for ages. No timestamp on it. I've just been doing it for a while. And I don't mean like talking to yourself where it's only you, and say if you drop something on the floor and you're like, oh fuck. I don't mean like talking to yourself like that. I mean actually full-blown conversations and actually thinking deeply. And what I mean by thinking deeply is actually having attentions behind what you're thinking, and not just blindless thoughts that are just popping into your mind, because you roughly have what 70,000 thoughts apparently, give or take, each day, and those thoughts can be like replicated, so you could be thinking about the same thing more than once. So with your subconscious brain, it's not like you get up and you're like, I'm getting up, I'm walking up my stairs, I'm going to the toilet, I'm brushing. You don't do that. You just naturally do it because it's your subconscious brain. And when I say thinking, I mean your actual conscious brain, so you're actually aware. And it's like I'm almost talking in my brain, and that's like a form of how I talk, is I mouth what I'm thinking. And it's kind of like I'm like talking to my brain, and the person in my brain is different to me actually speaking out loud. And the reason for that is because I believe it's my inner voice or my higher self. I'll get into that in a second. But there's different ways I talk to myself. One way is I do my daily affirmations, but that's affirmations, not exactly having a conversation, but I still do that daily. It could be mirror gazing, where I'm looking at a mirror and I'm like appreciating my body and looking at my body, but I also talk to myself. It could be like on a video where I do like videos and just talk to myself. And you may be thinking, well, if I talk to myself on videos like all the time, then why don't I post on YouTube? Because it's about random things, and sometimes it's so dedicated to me where I feel like you can't even really see that topic and take it and look at it in a different perspective and gain any knowledge. It's like, if I'm like, this is what I had for dinner, are you going to dissect that and be like, whoa, if you take this from this perspective, and like, you know what I mean? It's random. It's like about my life, about so many different things. It's just, I post specific videos to my YouTube, obviously, to help you, and what I believe to help me in the future when I look back on them, whether my opinion changes or stays the same. But yeah, with the higher self thing, what your higher self is you in the future, but a better version. So it's kind of like it guides you, and I feel like when I talk, that's what it is, because it feels like I'm looking up to this voice, and it's like it's guiding me, because I'll be talking to it and I'll be like asking myself a question, expecting answers from my brain. And sometimes it gives me answers, but it's like I already knew that answer, but they say it in a way where it's like they're honest, and it like naturally just comes out. So it's kind of like it feels like another person, like you're actually talking to another person, but you're not, it's you. And you might think, what's this guy on about? He's waffling, he's crazy, is he high? And it's understandable, but I'm trying to put it in the best way possible. It's a bit of a weird situation to put into words, but talking to yourself really does help in a physical aspect of communicating with others, where I debate myself and talk to myself for ages, right? Sometimes I can't come up with an actual answer that I believe. So what I mean is, say if Jim, for example, a science-based lifter, and there's another science-based lifter, and he says this exercise is better because da 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 da. He says this exercise is better da 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 da, and it's about the same muscle group. I try both, and I agree with both of them. Then it's kind of like, I don't actually know. And that's what it's like when I debate myself. I have good points for both sides of the argument or the debate. And then it's like, I don't actually know what to believe. So then it leaves me wondering. Then I go down a massive rabbit hole of saying why or what or how. And then I get to a point where it's like, well, do we even know anything? Do we even know any answers? And it's really good because it's making me question a lot more things and opening my perspective even more. So when I talk to other people in real life, I've been asking them like deeper questions or stuff that I haven't normally asked or seen it in that way, but I've now seen it in that way because I've spoke to myself for a long period of time where it's unlocked a new perspective, if that makes sense. So it can actually help you communicate in person. And another thing is even if you lose your best friends, you get heartbroken by your girlfriend, people die, or you lose people, it's going to be you, right, throughout your whole life. And when you think about it, you spend the majority of your life in your mind. And that may not make sense, but what I mean is, like, when you actually think about, you're having so many thoughts and you're also thinking throughout your life, right? It's the mental before the physical. Everything around us, right? If I get these glasses here, someone had to think about making glasses before this was here. So when I think about certain things in my mind, I like to speak it into existence to make sure I actually hear it and not just like hear it from my brain and just like inside my head. So I think speaking to yourself is amazing, and I'm not asking you to walk down the street and talk to yourself and scream at the top of your lungs. No, right? Like I was saying, it's going to be you throughout your whole life, and you want to hold value and a connection to yourself, because if you spend the majority of your life inside your mind, then wouldn't you want it to be a nice place to be? Imagine this, you're thinking of yourself negatively, you speak about yourself negatively, so all you're going to be thinking about is yourself negatively, and it's going to damage your value towards yourself. Imagine if you think about yourself positively, you look at the world positively, right? You're going to have a more positive connection with yourself, and that's going to be better for you when you have certain situations where you need to be positive, or you need to transfer that negative energy into positive energy when you have a better connection for yourself. So not only are you building a better connection for you, it can also help you talk to others. And it can also help you not get new knowledge exactly, but see it in a different perspective. And it's just something so free where you can literally talk to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a mouth, right? If you're breathing and you're alive right now, obviously you can talk to yourself. So it's like you can literally do that now. But obviously it seems like something so niche. You don't really see anyone really talk about this. But a lot of people, including myself, like to be alone, or prefer being alone than to going out. And I'm not a great socializer, but what I've mentioned about me talking to myself and how it's helped me see different perspective and communicate a bit with the books that I've read about communication has actually helped me. I've made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of progress to be made, and this is why I want to share it, because I feel like a lot of people who aren't sociable or don't like communicating, this will resonate with them, and it's worth a shot. Even if you don't decide to start trying to communicate with other people, socialize with other people more, at least you're communicating with yourself, which is the most important thing. Because like I said, you want to have great value within yourself, you know what I mean? And it's like, you don't even have to necessarily talk. The reason why I talk is because I want to make sure I'm actually hearing myself. Because it's like thinking, if you actually sit down and just deeply think, I guess you could maybe call that meditation, and you just think to yourself without speaking, that's great as well, because you're actually thinking and you're clearing out these foggy thoughts, right? I'm really passionate about this. You can see I'm like, and it's because I actually care about, obviously, myself and obviously the people watching. The reason why I do these videos and actually like post them is for you as well. Otherwise, like I said, I could just keep them in my minds only, like when I actually talk to myself and I don't post those videos. But talking to yourself is amazing. It's like a fresh of a breath of fresh air. I was about to say a fresh of breath air. It's like you talk to yourself, and this is something I picked up on, and I saw a video about this, and it's, we get annoyed when someone can't see something how we see it, because our ego gets in the way. I don't believe the ego is bad. I believe it has pros and cons, right? But say if I lay out something and it makes so much sense to me, and I can see it clear as day that makes sense, and they still don't get it. People can get annoyed by that, and the ego, like, it gets in the way because it's getting a bit frustrated because we understand it through our egos from the knowledge we've accumulated, but they don't because their ego is different and their brain works differently. So it's like, it really helps with just talking to myself because it's only me, it's no one else's ego or anyone else's ears. So it doesn't allow you to get annoyed, because the whole point of people having debates or arguments is to try and get the other person to see their side or try and persuade them. It's like a Christian who preaches about God. The whole reason they come in to preach about God is because obviously, yes, they believe in him, but to hopefully convert you to a Christian and to start believing in Christ. They're not coming over to preach it and hope that you won't listen to them. Otherwise, why'd they even preach it? It's like, why'd I make this video if I didn't want anyone to listen to it? Do you know what I mean? Why do you make a book if you didn't want anyone to read it? So it's literally like that. When you talk to yourself, you won't be able to get annoyed because it's no one else except from you. And that's why it's perfect, because it's like you can understand yourself more as well and how your brain works. And I just think it really helps you. And I would say, even if you incorporate it into your life and you do it, like I said, just thinking, that's a great start. You don't have to go, like I said, guns blazing, talking to yourself in the street for 2 hours. I'm not expecting you to do that. It may feel weird. You may feel a bit weird when going outside, if you do decide to go outside and talk to yourself, but it really does help you. Well, at least it's helped me. I used to walk my dog as well, like every single day, and I used to talk to him like a human. Like, I'll talk to him like, how's your day? Like how are you doing? Like, as if he could reply. He couldn't, but I would still talk to my dog like that. And sometimes I had people just like look at me driving past in their cars or walking past, and they're like, you can tell they're looking at me because it's like, who's he talking to? But like I said, it's more of a natural thing. It like rolls off the tongue. But maybe start off by thinking of something that you are struggling with. Maybe you are struggling to get into the gym and you don't know actually why. Your inner thoughts, or I should say your inner voice, is really honest, or at least it is for me. Like I said, I always get an answer back. Even though I know that answer, it's like, it gives it to me rolling off the tongue straight away, and it's like, there's no coping. So it's like, if you say you're struggling to go gym, and then you ask yourself, by talking to yourself or thinking, do I have the money? Yes. Can I get there in reasonable time? Yes. Do I have the time? Yes. And then you keep going, yes, why? And then you finally get to the problem. That will help you get to the problem. And like I say, the problem normally comes down to you, because it's normally something to do with you. So it's like with gym, if you have the resources, you have the time, but you don't do it, it's because you don't see the value in gym. Why? Because that's your mindset and you don't see a benefit. Like, you know what I mean? So it falls back on you, and you talking to yourself would actually help you with that as well. So the whole premises of this video is talking to yourself will not only help you talk to others, but also help with you personally. And to me, I feel like that's a win-win. You know what I mean? But bit of a random video, bit of a different video. Hopefully I've explained it the best I can, because it's quite a unique topic that I haven't seen a video on. But hopefully it makes sense and you understand it, and hopefully do actually try it, like actually deeply thinking to yourself. The reason I said basically meditation is because obviously a lot of people view meditation as just like you breathing in and out and you like thinking clearly, which that is meditation, but there's different forms of meditation, that I believe anyway. But yeah, what I'd recommend is just start off little, maybe talk to yourself when no one's around so you don't feel a bit weird. Get used to talking to yourself and it will just be so natural to you, and then you can have normal conversations, and when you do that, it's like it forces the truth out in a way. If I'm like, oh man, why don't I want to do this? And then my brain knows the answer, but because we have egos, we don't always like to tell the truth sometimes. I feel like everyone lies, whether the lie's bad or like whether the lie's not that bad. So what I mean, say if you're trying to get a job, this is something I did, and I put on my CV, that I've worked somewhere when I haven't, because I've been struggling to get work. So I thought maybe if I lie and say I've worked in a place, that could help me. I don't see that as necessarily bad, but saying like, I don't know, making up a crazy lie. Say if I know you had a best friend and you kissed his girlfriend, you said, "Oh, did you kiss my girlfriend?" or whatever, and you're like, "No," and you've clearly lied. Like, that's a bad lie, you know what I mean? And me like lying on my CV saying, "Well, you know what? I haven't actually worked, but I'm just gonna say I've worked in Sports Direct. See if I can get a job." I don't think that's like as bad, you know what I mean, or bad. So it forces like the truth out of you, because your brain knows the truth. You know the truth. It's just whether you speak that to existence, and that's why talking to yourself is different to just thinking, because you're speaking it into existence, because words hold frequency. You know what I mean? We can't understand animals because they're vibrating at different frequency. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I actually like physically saying it and not only thinking it. But you know why you don't want to do something, and that's why you cope and block, like make blockages and make excuses. But if you actually sit there with yourself with nothing to really stimulate you, you're going to get to the bottom of it. And most likely it's going to be something to do with you. You know what I mean? So that's just my take on it. And like talking to yourself, I just think building a connection to yourself when you spend majority of your life in your mind and it's you throughout your whole life, why not make a better connection for you? But yeah, I feel like we're kind of going in circles now, so I'm going to end the video here, and I hope all of you have a good day. See you lot in a bit.